ceasefire reached.
But who should get the credit? MSNBC's Joy Reid will let us all know. I think it's going to be interesting. Let's talk about it, y'all.
Middle America.
And you ain't black.
I don't know what I said. The first time ever any...
What are you people?
We're Americans.
We are Americans indeed. My name is Vincent, and this
am Soraya.
Is Middle America with Vin and Sori, where we're not left wing.
We're not right wing.
We're just right.
That's what we tell our teenagers too. We're always right.
We are always right, especially to you teenagers. Dear listener, we have a momentous, wonderful thing to celebrate.
Exciting news.
This is some of the most exciting and good news we've heard in some time. There are those who are skeptical. I understand the skepticism. I do understand the skepticism. I do understand the eye rolls. But they did sign the peace accord today. Now, dear listener, if you want to be part of the conversation, it's very, very simple. Facebook.com/America Middle.
Yep.
In which case you, dear listener, will be able to continue the conversation with yours truly as well as other people in our community. Now, keep in mind, dear listener, as we've said over and over again, it is a free speech environment, and I am not Elon Musk. So if you have some things to say about people, they're gonna let it fly. Now, we're not trying to be an abusive environment, but it is a free speech environment. Sometimes it does get a little bit hairy.
A little hectic.
We are talking about ultimate issues here, and people actually believe what they're saying. They're not playing a game, and so because of that, people are emotionally charged. Say it that way. Because they really believe in what they're doing. Like, if everybody was just a grifter, like everybody accuses everybody of being, then people wouldn't be getting so emotional about these situations. So the fact that people are emotional on either side on any conflict, I think is a good thing, and that should be honored, and we honor that. But make no mistake, dear listener, anytime you have a free speech environment, you're going to have people saying crazy stuff or stuff that you think is crazy or hurtful or painful or whatever. All right, okay. So as we reported yesterday, there's been a ceasefire that's been agreed to between Israel and Hamas. Obviously, this particular iteration of the conflict between Israel and their Palestinian neighbors was kicked off on October 7th when Hamas went on an indiscriminate killing spree and took Israeli hostages. Now, the fact that they did that is not something that can be disputed. One of the fascinating things about this discussion, especially being an evangelical Christian, is that we're playing the who started it game. And so they'll say, look, I understand they killed 40 to 50,000 civvies and starved them out and made them die of thirst and put sniper rounds in the back of babies' heads, all financed by the United States of America. We were supposed to believe that as a country that we weren't those people, and yet here we were supporting this genocidal action, the attempt to ethnically cleanse the land of indigenous people there so that you can get the, 45 billion barrels of natural gas that's under there, as well as the beachfront property. So that's the situation. The Israelis responded, obviously, in a completely, in a way that punished children and pregnant women, and did not do right by their Palestinian neighbors. As this was going on, our government was funding them to the tune of billions of dollars. There were multiple occasions when Mr. Joe Biden would get up in front of that little bully pulpit he had there and talk about, I think we're going to come closer and closer and closer to a deal. And then literally the next day, Bibi would mock him. I can't tell you. Just Google Bibi humiliates Biden. Okay? Like, he had absolutely no respect for Joe Biden in any way, shape, or form. He made a point to say the exact opposite of everything that Biden said was going to happen. And so, obviously now folks on the left or folks on the Democrat, I'm not even going to say leftists. I'm going to say anti-Trumpists.
Okay.
Okay. So anti-Trumpists, it's one of those situations where they're in a bad situation. Look at this. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna show you guys this.
Wow.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I haven't heard the Joy Reid breakdown yet, but we can all guess what kind of person Joy Reid's gonna get. All I put in to Google was BB humiliates Biden. That's all I put. Here we go, guys. Here we go. I mean, this stuff is really, really crazy to me. Let me shrink this down for you guys so you can see the full force of this. All I did was
Biden.
BB humiliates Biden. That's all I put in there.
Yeah.
And
yikes.
This is what popped up. So,
Yikes.
Everybody's got to make their own decisions. Okay, everybody's got to make their own decisions. Here we go. In Israel, why Netanyahu humiliated Biden? The New Republic. Netanyahu is humiliating Biden. The American Prospect. Biden and Bibley. Biden should do his successor a big favor and break with the Israeli Prime Minister who keeps humiliating him and destroying Gaza. Politico. From I love you to asshole. How Joe Biden gave up on Bibi. After decades of building close personal friendship with Benjamin Netanyahu, Biden has had it with the Israeli Prime Minister. That was March 22nd of 2024. He's had it with him since March 22nd. And what did he do? Sent him more billions. Rift between Netanyahu and Biden widens his Israelis, etc., etc., etc. Biden admits Bibi humiliated him, does nothing. That's breaking points. Look, guys, it's not just Mr. Netanyahu. It is also Mr. Putin. It is also the leadership in China. It is also the leadership in Iran. None of them were afraid of Mr. Biden. Mm-hmm. None of them respected him. None of them believed that they were going to be in any danger of contradicting him in public.
Yeah.
They bragged about it. As I said a million times, these people bragged about it. So now, with this as a backdrop, let us check out our good friend Joy Reid, who is going to give us a completely objective and unbiased view. Hey, Art Perez is this.
Thank
in
you
this
for the
bitch.
super chat.
Jackson, this bitch. Good to see you, baby. Art, I'm glad that you're here because I know that Art is a big fan. Me and Art go way back. He's a big fan of Rachel Maddow. Joy Reid and MSNBC. So I'm sure.
I never know if you're being serious.
I'm sure.
Here,
I'm sure Perez. I'm sure Mr. Perez showed up just in time because once he saw Joy Reid in that bitch, he was like, "Oh my God, I gotta get there. I gotta see George."
Oh gosh. Okay.
Vin, California needs to be careful. I heard firefighters from Israel hit Los Angeles. They better be careful. They better be careful. Honestly, I'm at the point now where I'm like, Obama had that. What's his face? Had the Muslim ban. I'm like, you know what? Until the Israelis stop massacring folks, y'all need to stay over there. Stay over there. We don't want you over here. We don't want you. Isn't that what Trump said? We don't want you bringing your crimes and your criminal behavior here and your sexual assault of Palestinian men, women, and boys. We don't want that in America. So stay where you are. Ben Shapiro, you can take a flight and go down there. It's all good. Look at this. Look at this. Sexy. You know it. You know when you see that Joy Reid. I mean, look what I have to work with, But when you guys see Joy Reid, you know what it's about. You know what we on.
Oh my gosh.
Look at this. That's how I know this is a genuine laugh from Art. That laugh is genuine as hell. And then he said sexy after. Look at this man. How many countries gets impersonating Biden falling down and going to sleep? It's true. It's true. It was one of the reasons why I would never join into the whole let's mock Joe Biden, blah, blah, blah. Like, listen, at the end of the day,
we did really good with that.
At the end of the day, the U.S. president still represents us on the world stage. And a mockery of him was a mockery of us in our country.
Yep.
And
That's
obviously
true.
I'm biased, but we're the baddest people on the planet. We're not good people. We're an extremely violent group of people.
Yeah.
And for people not to be afraid of us is very jarring to the American mind. Mm-hmm. I mean, I must say. Mm-hmm. Lack of joy, Reid. Lack of joy, Reid. I see what you did there. The joys are getting dragged right now in the news cycle. If your name is Joy in the news cycle, you're getting dragged right now. You know what I'm talking about? Joy Reid and the other Joy.
Yep.
Italians, the Saudis mocked him, the Iranians mocked him, everybody mocked him. All right, here's Joy Reid. Joy Reid's going to tell us, though, about who should get the credit for all the ceasefire deal. Let's check it out.
Let us know.
Let's check it out. She's going to be objective. You know it. You know what's up.
But we begin tonight with big news out of the Middle East.
She's
Hamas
gonna
and Israel have finalized a ceasefire deal that will release the remaining hostages and ensure the departure of Israeli forces from Gaza.
Wow.
Yeah.
That right there, guys, has got to be some of the best news that
we've been waiting for.
Joy Reid has heard in a very long time, right? Because it was people like Joy Reid and people that follow her and all the neoliberals and all the leftists, all the people that were doing protests, which I'm glad, by the way. I'm glad that there were protests all across the country on behalf of Palestinian people. I'm very proud of my country to hear that the massacre of these Palestinians had a major impact in Kamala Harris losing. Okay? Arizona was at 38 to 40% over Michigan, and Michigan is sort of like an Islamic outpost in America, and the Arizonans weren't feeling it either. Like, there are significant swing states that in exit polling, people made sure to say, this is the reason I could not vote for you.
Yep.
And what was happening on the left, because I would see these conversations, because we've got right, we've got neolibs, and then we've got actual leftists, right? If I'm dividing everything correctly. The actual leftists were upset. They were the moral conscience of the country. They were the ones taking it to the streets. They were the ones protesting on campuses. They're the ones that took the bullets from the right, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, on behalf of these people. When it came time to vote, a lot of these folks were in crisis because they were saying, okay, blah, 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 but it's a lesser of two evils. And people were saying to each other, how can we say Trump is the lesser of two evils when we're giving billions of dollars to these people? What's Trump going to do? Give them trillions of dollars? And of course, the argument the person was really trying to make was we need to vote for Jill Stein, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? So the reaction of neoliberals as well as leftists to this news is extremely telling. Look at this woman's face right now. There have been children murdered in front of their parents. There have been parents murdered in front of their children due to the lack of a ceasefire. And these Israelis came out, not before, but before that were saying we're nowhere close to a ceasefire. So they were nowhere close to a ceasefire. Now all of a sudden, 48 hours before Mr. Trump is sworn in, now all of a sudden there's a ceasefire, and she does not seem happy. This is my problem with a lot of people today. Rejoyless. Why are you so joyless when you were doing all this protesting? It's because the most judgmental... we continue. Here we go. Let's hit play.
The news was greeted with jubilation and tears from Tel Aviv to Khan Yunis.
Wow.
Because it's the first time there is real hope in the region.
Wow.
Tel Aviv, by the way,
Wow.
Tel Aviv is populated by a bunch of Israelis. Remember, Tel Aviv was voted as the most LGBT-friendly place on the planet for a couple years in a row. So when Joy Reid says from there to there, it's saying basically both Israelis and Palestinians are happy about this ceasefire on the ground. Okay? So that's what she's saying. We continue.
Announcement comes just days before the transfer of power from President Biden to Donald Trump. Now, this feels like historical deja vu. It's probably because a similar situation happened in 1981 when American hostages being held at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran were freed just as Ronald Reagan took over from Jimmy Carter.
And God bless Jimmy Carter. And nominate Patrick Spiritually Sancti. But Jimmy Carter was weak. He was a weak man. And That's why you can jam us up, take hostages in Iran, and everything be okay. But then when Reagan was on the way, Reagan said, I'm going to fuck y'all up like you wouldn't believe. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, we got different discussions. Mm-hmm. I've been saying this through this entire situation. Neoliberals and leftists do not understand how violence works.
Right.
They don't get it. We continue.
Good evening on the 444th and final day of the hostage crisis, which is also the first day of the new Reagan presidency.
Here is how NBC's correspondent explained that deal.
On the plane coming over, the Carter party told reporters that Iran will wind up with only $3 billion after withholdings for claims and repayments of loans. That Carter was close to agreement 3 times and almost had one just before the election. That the final deal was sealed at 9 o'clock yesterday morning, Washington time, but the takeoff was probably held off just to embarrass Carter one more time.
A prominent Democratic politician at the time told the New York Times
Unbelievable.
that he was a witness to Republican efforts to prevent the hostages from being freed before Election Day. President Biden is trying to avoid a repeat of what happened.
Oh, Miss Reid. Miss Reid. I don't want to misread you. So we're not going to do the Reagan is Trump, Biden is Carter analogy where you had a weak president who the enemy did petty shit just to embarrass. We're not going to talk about that. We're gonna somehow rescue Joe Biden from this. Let's see, and by extension yourself, because you were encouraging all of us to vote for the people that were funding this genocide. Miss Reid.
To Carter and make clear that this deal was the fruit of his administration's labor.
More than 15
You're kidding me. You are kidding me.
Here's Ian. God bless you, Ian. I love you for the sake of the Lord Jesus.
Crazy.
Why is she still defending Biden when his time is done? My brother,
Incredible.
my beautiful brother. She is not defending Biden. She's really defending herself. Because she told us all that Trump was not only a danger to democracy,
She used her soapbox.
but he was also a danger to the world. And Trump is going to initiate World War III. Even though we didn't have 2 wars when Trump was around, we had 2 wars as soon as we had leadership that was perceived as weak.
Yeah. He's not even really, his feet haven't gone into the Oval Office yet, and he's already,
Sadakta.
he's already moving things.
Exactly. And it also means that
This is embarrassing. Biden is coming out trying to claim.
you went on national TV for months telling us to vote for this man and vote for his vice president,
Yep.
ma'am.
Yep.
And if we would have listened to you, them Israelis wouldn't have signed shit and they would have continued to laugh at us. We continue, which we deserve to be laughed at, by the way. You give billions and billions of dollars to somebody who's constantly disrespecting you, and beyond them disrespecting you, killing people.
Yeah, come on. No.
of conflict that began with Hezbollah's brutal massacre on October the 7th.
Hezbollah's brutal massacre. Hezbollah did not do the brutal massacre,
No.
you weirdo. It was
They are
Hamas.
just-
It's Hamas, you weirdo. Hezbollah are Shia. They're Shia. And at the time, you saw what happened to Assad, right? Bashar al-Assad, the leader of Syria,
Yeah.
he got bounced over to Russia because Jabhat al-Nusra came in there and wiped him out.
Yeah.
Jabhat al-Nusra is a Sunni militia. Hezbollah is a Shia militia. So all through the ISIS years, these guys were fighting each other. These Muslims were fighting and killing each other. I mean, lining up against walls and just, it wasn't just ISIS doing that. Because there's a Shia and Sunni beef.
Right.
So it just,
And
it
their
really
beef
bothers.
ultimately comes down to some belief about Aisha, right?
Well, it's really between Ali and Abu Bakr. But that
Okay.
would be
All right.
way.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
but the point is, like, it's clear at the very end when he's trying to take credit, he can't even name the group. It's like saying, like, it's like the Bloods went and did something and wrecked wrecked shop, and then I get up there and say, yeah, I stopped the Crips. I made sure that, the Crips initiated all this.
It shows that you really weren't a part of it.
What are you talking about? The Crips and the Bloods are like, but then they're going to say, well, they're both black, right? So
no!
Right, so these are both two terrorist organizations, so we could just use them interchangeably. Even though Hezbollah, the most bodies they've dropped have been Muslim bodies, and then all the Muslim militias, the same is true for them on the other side. So it's pedantic. It's a little bit petty of me to point out the difference between Hezbollah and Hamas, but the context here is, I'm assuming Joy's going to try to launch some sort of apologia for acting like Biden really had any sort of influence in any way, shape, or form with this decision.
I don't think that it's petty at all. I think it's very important to point out, because if you don't know that's a detail that you should know about if you were actually involved in it. I guarantee if you asked Trump who it was, he'd know. The fact that he mentioned the wrong group when he said that he's had such an influence in changing this thing, but he doesn't even know the main influencing party. I mean, I think that just shows us what's actually going on. But I'm curious to see how she's going to spin this to
it's
take credit for it or whatever.
More than 15 months of terror for the hostages, their families, the Israeli people. More than 15 months of suffering by the innocent people of Gaza.
Whoa, well, how come you were talking about the Hezbollah terrorists, but you didn't talk about the IDF terrorists? You didn't talk about the IDF snipers who were putting rounds behind the ears of little 4-year-old boys.
No, oh, come on.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Oh, human shields. Sorry, that doesn't work with snipers. I mean, the human shield thing doesn't really work regardless, because if you're holding somebody in front of you, that means that your hands are preoccupied and your head is wide open. I don't know if people understand that, but don't watch the movies. I promise you, if you're in a situation where you're putting somebody's body in front of yours because you don't think people are going to shoot, that's a dumb idea. That's a real dumb idea. You're a lot easier to hit in that. Please, I would love to. You're a lot easier to hit in that situation live than if you were by yourself trying to whatever. But all of that is moot when you have a sniper, because you were deliberately killing that person. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. We continue.
Fighting in Gaza will stop, and soon the hostages will return home to their families. The elements of this deal are what I laid out in detail this past May.
And that's why everybody kept saying that this dude was humiliating you, because he mocked it on television,
which was embraced by countries around the world and endorsed overwhelmingly by the UN Security Council.
President Biden and his national security team have been working for over a year to get Israel and Hamas to sign off on a deal. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has taken 12 trips to the region since Hamas attacked Israel on October 7, 2023. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and CIA Director William Burns have made frequent trips to the region as well. And President Biden is correct that this deal appears to be the exact same proposal that he announced last May. What changed? Trump, who will assume office on Monday at noon. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has made it no secret that he prefers Trump and wanted to deliver him a win. Post reported that Israel
and there's the spin, ladies.
There it is. They were buddy, and he wanted to deliver Trump a win.
We need a spinning top that can start. Whoop, there's the spin.
Ma'am, I don't know if you realize this or not. But there was recently a vote by the American people in which Trump not only won the Electoral College, but for the first time in like 25 years, also won the popular vote
as well.
So I don't really think that Trump is in a situation where he needs a win. Ridiculous. How embarrassing do you have to be?
How embarrassing do you have to be?
To yourself. See, this is what happens. People would rather protect their moralism. Now you're starting to see what the real value structure is with a lot of these people.
Yeah, exactly.
And yep. I've got a friend. He's he used a term that was so interesting to me. He said, "Man, you evangelicals, judging to you is like an addiction." I said, wow, my brother's right. Can you come close to me, Mr. Leftist, Madam Centrist? I don't know if you guys have realized this, but a lot of you have been acting like evangelical Christians when it comes to Trump and his supporters. There's a bunch of judgmentalism. There's a bunch of I'm better than you. There's a bunch of you guys really are deplorable. There's a bunch of that just real dismissive hostility and resentment to anybody that would even consider voting for Trump. And simultaneous to that, you want to perceive yourself as the remnant of the righteous in America. You guys are righteous. It's all these religious right-wingers and idiots over there in the backwoods that are just dumb. The fact of the matter is, if you guys would have told us, if we followed what you said, which is to vote for Kamala Harris, who was so horrible she had to drop out of her own state in a primary, much less a general. Allahu Akbar. You told us to vote for those people who would have upheld that terror. We continue.
Something to Trump, but it was believed to be a deal on Lebanon. According to reports, Netanyahu has been speaking with Trump for months, while Trump...
Yeah, I am certain that Netanyahu has been speaking to Trump for months. I am certain. I am certain that Trump said, look, man, I'm not going to come here and embarrass you, but by the time I get sworn in, that shit needs to be done, man.
Yep. Figure it out.
Figure this shit out.
...was campaigning for re-election. Trump previously told Axios that Netanyahu never wanted peace with the Palestinians, but Trump told him to do what he had to do with Hamas.
Netanyahu never wanted peace. Trump said that. Where's Joe Biden saying that?
Additionally, some of the parents of hostages and Israeli soldiers have been livid at Prime Minister Netanyahu, accusing him of being deceitful and of intentionally extending and expanding the war for his own political benefit, given how he was blamed for the security failures that led up to the October 7 attack.
Because he knew they were going to... This is on record. This is not a conspiracy theory. He knew they were going to happen, but he was in a lot of trouble politically because he was basically trying to strong-arm the government. And it's not a Democrat-Republican situation over there. There's a bunch of different parties, and if those parties ally against you, you will lose. And so there's a thought... We know definitively that he knew that it was going to happen, but there's a thought that he allowed it to happen so that he could have a war, so that he could take attention off of him. And then, usually in war, people want to vote for the guy who's at the helm because of security issues or whatnot. But
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How many people died as a result?
I mean, what are you talking about? Hamas went in there, killed about 1,300 people, and then the Israelis retaliated by killing 40 to 100,000 people. So, here we go.
Oh my God, that's
President
awful.
Biden acknowledged that these are the waning days of his administration, but it was in the interest of the world for his administration to work with Trump's incoming administration to get the deal done.
I'd also note this deal was developed and negotiated under my administration, but its terms will be implemented, for the most part, by the next administration. In these past few days, we've been speaking as one team. I told my team to coordinate closely with the incoming team to make sure we're all speaking with the same voice, because that's what American presidents do.
Oh,
is that...
Yeah. Wow. We're so lucky. That you're overseeing.
Where would we
the
be?
Next administration. Biden.
Where would we be without Biden and his instructions to his Sakfra, I should have said. He's still the president. We continue.
Yeah, but stop. But the lying, right, is kind of what's being mocked here. Like he hasn't been making the decisions.
Yeah.
And now
Agreed.
he's going to be out there saying that he's
Agreed.
going to instruct the next president. It's so dishonest and it's so ridiculous that it's hard to, the emperor's new clothes situation.
Agree.
I mean, come on.
Okay, I'll give you that.
And decency, Trump immediately took credit for the deal. Yet another example of Trump putting his name on something someone else built.
I'm struggling.
I want to point out.
I'm struggling so bad.
Listen to this woman. Look at her.
Gosh.
Look at her face. She's not happy. I thought all you people cared about those people in Gaza. You should be overjoyed. You'd rather Gazan children die than Trump get the credit for it. Just like you'd rather Americans die than Bernie Sanders get in there, and you don't want left-wing populism to take over the Democratic Party because that means it's over for y'all. Unbelievably sick people. Sick. I want you guys to understand this. These people have been getting massacred and dying in the worst fucking way possible. And these people got on TV and cried and did all the shit. Just like AOC did. She cried when she saw those kids at the border. It was an empty parking lot. But then when the guy with the D after his name put kids in cages and was working them for 5 cents a day, nobody was there except for Ted Cruz, who could not be found at the border when Mr. Trump was fucking with those kids at the border. These people do not have any compassion or humanity left outside of their grid of, we have to stop Trump. It's sickening. Mm-hmm. Sick of it. I am sick of them using the suffering. They use the suffering of people to push forward a political agenda, and they pretend that they care about these people. And it's the same reason that black people are starting to say, man, fuck all this. Because black people are now starting to figure out, man, none of these white liberals care about you. That's the reason why they didn't celebrate the First Step Act when Trump signed it. Where are all the people spiking the football and dancing in the street for that? Since you love black people so much, Trump did this in the first 6 months of his presidency. We didn't hear anything about it. You know what we heard about? Kanye is meeting with Trump, blah, 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 blah. And Don Lemon and the rest of them were talking about Kanye's what happens when Negroes don't read. But it was Kanye and his crazy wife, Kim Kardashian, that convinced Trump to go in that direction.
Yep.
These people don't care about anything but staying in power and having the rest of us follow along with their crazy bullshit conspiracy theories and their lies. And they now resent all of us for seeing through their bullshit. We continue.
This deal, which Netanyahu delayed for as long as humanly possible, has hung over Biden's head for more than...
You're wrong. He did not delay it as long as humanly possible because he could have told Trump, fuck you, just like he told Biden, fuck you. He could possibly have done that. So you're wrong. She's acting like, oh, he waited for the last minute and this was inevitable. It was inevitable that he was going to do this. No, sir. No, sir. Nope. It only became inevitable when Donald J. Trump won and won convincingly and has the Senate and the House. And he put the whole world on notice. He said, listen, if I put my hand up and my hostages aren't home, there's going to be hell to pay where you live. And silly Crystal Ball, God forgive me, I'm feeling something today. Silly Crystal Ball was like, I thought he was supposed to be the anti-war president. You secure peace by preparing for war, ma'am.
Yeah.
As I'm saying, like, these people don't understand how violence works. They don't understand how violence works. Violence does not work that way, ma'am. When you have somebody that has overwhelming power and he gives you a deadline, dudes are going to do what needs to be done.
In a year, and was arguably a key factor in Vice President Harris losing the election as parts of the Democratic base.
Arguably. 38% of the people in Arizona said that, ma'am. You didn't lose by 38%. So if you would have been able to crack that in half, y'all would have won Arizona. Same thing with Michigan, etc., etc. See how she's downplaying this? This was a major story yesterday. And it honestly, it was one of my proudest moments as an American. Because I was sitting here being all arrogant, being like, nobody cares about the Palestinians except for me. No. Nope. Untrue. All those white women. Oh, white women, how could you do this? Oh, white women. It was white women. It was white women said, hell no, I'm a mother.
Yep.
We're not doing this.
Yep.
Thank you, white women. I don't care. I don't care. Thank you, white women, for not falling for the whole first woman, Roe v. Wade. Thank you. Them
A
white
lot of
women
votes
said.
and a lot of prayers.
Them white
That's what
women
we
said,
did.
nope. I got babies. They got babies. We're
Yep.
not doing this. You're not
Yep.
gonna do this shit in my name. Shout out to the white ladies.
Yep.
But what do? They demonize them. Are any of the white ladies gonna get an apology? Any of the Latinos gonna get an apology? And who gets left out? The Negroes. Because we came through for Kamala. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Peeled off and either stayed home or even voted for Trump as the so-called peace candidate. But what's past is past, and this deal is the present. It will include 2 phases. The first will last 6 weeks and includes a complete ceasefire, withdrawal of Israeli forces from populated areas of Gaza, and the release of a number of hostages. The exact number to be released was not specified, but would it...
All the American ones.
Better start there.
They better be there at the inauguration. Can you
That's
imagine?
what he said.
It's Trump. You know he's going to do something with them people.
Yeah,
And you know how them people... Can you imagine being an American hostage? Let me ask you a question, all my left-wing friends.
Yeah, I know where you're going. Answer me this.
Answer me this. Left-winger, neoliberal, Trump hater, never Trumper, I don't give a fuck. Let me ask you a question. You're hanging out there in Gaza. Okay? Hamas are your captors, and they're probably treating you pretty decent because Hamas has adopted a certain form of Islam.
Yep.
And also, they're not dumb. Trust me, unless... okay. I'm going to ask you guys a question. You are
Be honest now.
You're a POW of of Hamas. Who do you want?
Which president do you want at the helm?
Who do you want as the president?
Who do you want negotiating the terms of your release? Biden.
How do you think those people feel right now? When their captors are like, look, pack your bags and shit. Why am I going home? Well, Trump, we don't want to smoke with that nigga. Go just line up and get out of here. You know, it's like Pharaoh, where Moses went to him 10 times. Let my people go. Pharaoh's like, man, fuck you. Who's Yahweh? I don't care about that. We good. By the end of it, after God did some Trump shit, they said, Jesus said, oh, where you ain't gonna let him go? Cool. I'm gonna show up at your house. And the Lord Jesus showed up at their house and took all their kids from them. And then what did Pharaoh say? Get out of here.
Yep.
It wasn't no, okay, you can leave. It says, get out of here.
Yep.
And then the scripture says, and the Lord made the Egyptians favorably disposed to the Israelites so that they gave them all their jewelry and bracelets, and so they plundered the Egyptians. That's what it says. Okay, I'm sorry, but if you were a hostage of Hamas, you want Donald Trump, and you're going to be eternally grateful to Donald Trump because Donald Trump said, he put it out there. You don't get our people, I'm fucking you up. You had Twitter, Biden. Why didn't you say something? You know when them people got... First of all, I don't know if you guys remember this, but in 2016, the Iranians intercepted one of our ships and put out a video of our sailors and sailor women crying on their hands and knees with their hands up. Now, I was extremely angry at those people. I said, man, you should have died, bro. You should have died than give those people that photo op. The fact of the matter is the Iranians weren't going to kill nobody. I know that for a fact. But that was all the way... Obama was the president when that was happening. This was happening during an election. And the only person that says we need to go over there and cut their throats was Trump. Because that was during the election season. Yep. These Iranians had we're America. Look, I understand it's American exceptionalism, blah, 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 but I don't give a fuck. We're America. You're not going to come and take our people, have their hands up, have them crying. That guy, we should have executed that guy as a traitor. I swear to God. It's just better to die. Just better to die, bro. Honestly. And look, I'm not talking... But my point is, if Joy Reid was a hostage of Hamas, and Joy Reid had one chance, and you said, Joy, you're getting Biden-Harris, you're getting Biden-Harris, Jimmy Carter, or Donald Trump, who do you want as your president? Who do you want as your president?
Let's not forget the history Biden has with black people and the decisions that Trump made during his presidency. You know?
Danny Mac says, I would like Trump. And so would I. So would I.
Me too.
You got something like Twitter and Biden, you couldn't say nothing about our hostages, bro? Kamala couldn't say nothing about our hostages?
He did this before. The last
You
time.
notice
Something with
Mr.
our
Trump?
soldiers.
You notice Mr. Trump didn't say nothing about them until he got elected?
Yeah.
Then once he got elected, boop!
Yep.
We're doing foreign policy on Twitter. Man, if y'all don't stop, we continue.
Include women and the elderly. Israel will release hundreds of Palestinian prisoners, and Palestinians can return to their neighborhoods in all areas of Gaza,
That we destroyed.
or what remains of those neighborhoods.
Because, and how did those neighborhoods come to be so decimated and destroyed, Miss Reid? Oh, that's right. The Israelis almost had a limitless supply of munitions. I wonder where they got all those from.
Us. Right
During
here.
those 6 weeks, they will.
Do you believe in God?
Yeah, jeez.
Like, honestly, do we really believe that we just get to do this to people over and over again and there won't be a consequence?
Yeah.
Continue to work on phase 2, which will include discussion of rebuilding Gaza. While both Biden and Trump are taking credit for this deal, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the ceasefire agreement with Hamas is not complete and that final details are still being worked out. Netanyahu has not explicitly said whether he accepts the deal. Joining me now is Eamon.
It doesn't matter if he says he accepts the deal, because we're in an imbalance relative to power, and Mr. Trump will fuck him up immediately, because now this is about a pissing contest. Trump said, I said XYZ, you need to walk the line. He doesn't countenance that type of thing. Look, this is one of those times when Trump's ego is a good thing for us. What did the guy say? The guy that Trump said, he said, hey, I'm in Qatar right now. Send your boy, which was Bibi. I got to talk to him. They said, yeah, Shabbat right now, but we'll talk on Saturday. He said, fuck that. Send him over here right now. It's different. It's different now.
Yep.
Shabbat.
Yep.
Mohiuddin, host of Eamon on MSNBC.
Wait a minute. Did they cease? Did they cease fire when it was Sabbath? When it was the Sabbath, or did they?
Of course not.
So that's even more friggin' crazy.
Of course not.
So they won't stop for the Sabbath on killing their neighbor.
Right.
But as far as meeting up for negotiations, they have to honor their Sabbath.
Yeah.
That's what your Sabbath is?
And that's why...
That's the way that you honor it?
Yeah.
Okay, that shows what it's all about. Wow.
Yeah, and that's why dude said, I don't give a fuck.
No way. Get over here.
You
didn't pause the... wow.
Trump knows.
Yeah, don't fight with us.
He didn't send, he sent somebody, I don't give a fuck about your Shabbat, bro.
Well, you don't care about it.
And here comes Joy Reid. We don't know if Netanyahu likes it. He's going to do what the fuck we tell him to do. I promise you. He went in there with his hat in his hands after we said, fuck you and your Shabbat. And you know he was on the other line.
Yeah, you can't treat people like that.
You know he's on the other line.
Mohiuddin, host of Eamon on MSNBC, and former CIA Director John Brennan, MSNBC Senior National Security and Intelligence Analyst. Eamon, I do want to start with you because that later news that we just got not too long ago was a bit confusing. We saw the leader of Qatar come out and give a very lengthy statement. This deal seemed quite complete. You had President Biden come out and give a statement. You saw Secretary of State Blinken and Vice President Harris standing behind him. It all seemed very complete. What is your reporting on Netanyahu seeming to somewhat walk it back?
Well, our colleagues at NBC have been reporting that for all intents and purposes, the Netanyahu, as a person, if you will, as the prime minister, has accepted it. But of course, now it has to work through a mechanism internally within both the Israeli security cabinet, the smaller cabinet of key decision makers pertaining to security matters, and then perhaps to a full-fledged cabinet vote within the next couple of days. But look, at the end of the day, there are people in...
The ceasefire is scheduled on the 19th. Okay. So it was the 18th now. So it's tomorrow. So I don't care.
Inside the Israeli cabinet that we know of who do not support this deal, who just within the last 48 hours were boasting about how they had blocked previous deals. So there is going to be...
Again, there he said it.
Exactly.
They were boasting about how they had blocked previous deals. Right. Previous to what? Previous to Trump, when we had Biden, which I said at the beginning of this show, that this dude has been giving us the finger every single time Biden has tried to do something. And he did nothing in response. We continue. Because he didn't want to hurt his legacy, he said. That's what came out yesterday. He didn't want to hurt his legacy as being an anti-Israel politician. He doesn't understand the zeitgeist of where the country is relative to Israel right now anyway. He doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Some internal politics within Israel and certainly within the cabinet of trying to posture this deal as saying, look, we just are focusing on phase 1. Phase 2 gives us an out. We can manipulate this. We can kind of deal with this in different phases and in different ways. But for all intents and purposes, when you have the President of the United States and you have the Prime Minister of Qatar and the Egyptian government come out and say that a deal has been reached, you can rest assured that they have gotten an assurance from the Israeli Prime Minister that he is committed to this deal. Otherwise, they would not have done it.
Look how
I've been in touch
disappointed
with
she
many
is.
of these leaders over the last 15 months.
Disgusting
and I can
people.
assure you, there were times when people were reporting a deal is imminent, and these negotiators were saying to me, no, they do not have the official yes from the key parties. And so as a result, it never materialized except today. So you can expect that in the next couple of days and even in the weeks, there will be political posturing inside Israel. Some will spin it in different ways. We've already seen some saying this is a bad deal, it should not be accepted. But you can rest assured that as of this evening, there is at least a commitment from...
Just FYI, guys, FYI, the New York Post, New York Times, they've all reported Israel-Hamas ceasefire officially signed by negotiators in Doha, which I think is in Qatar. So it's been signed. So here we go. We continue. Unbelievable. I'm so angry at the body language here. Like, you have no idea.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
It's pretty wild.
It's really...
The Israelis to the Americans, to the Egyptians, and to the Qataris that they want to begin this phase of the deal.
John Brennan, let me bring you in here, because the reality is we've gotten to know the names of some Israeli officials, Itamar Ben-Gvir, Mr. Smotrich, who are far-right members of Benjamin Netanyahu's coalition. They keep him in power by being part of his coalition. They've been very much opposed to the deal, and as Ayman has said, bragging openly that they blocked this exact same deal, which has been on the table multiple times. Given that this is the exact same deal, nothing else has changed. Am I wrong to sort of make the Carter illusion that this was delayed and delayed and delayed in part to have the same deal come closer to Trump's taking power so that Trump could take credit for it? Does that...
That's the reason.
Unbelievable.
That's the reason. Haven't you seen Ben Shapiro's Twitter? You see how overjoyed Ben Shapiro is over this? Like, yay, we got to win for Trump. None of these far right people wanted that to happen. What is he talking about? What is she talking about? Can you?
I mean,
it's just. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
She just wants it to be so. It's incredible.
Okay. Benjamin Netanyahu, unlikely to attend Trump inauguration, has not received a formal invite to the inauguration. Okay? That is a fact. No, the Israelis are not happy about this in any way, shape, or form. And Trump knew not to invite him because he knew he was going to do this. Mm-hmm. Okay? So your conspiracy theory about, they always were going to do this. Mm-hmm. It's just that we wanted to wait and give Trump a win. Ridiculous. The guy didn't even want to show up when he was summoned. This is the same woman. This is the same woman that was acting like Trump sent the assassin to shoot him. Mm-hmm. She was putting out that crazy ass conspiracy theory that Trump set up his own almost death within an inch from some 22-year-old kid. Yeah, just snipe me just enough to take my ear off or whatever right as I'm turning. Yeah, unbelievable. I cannot tell you how disgusted I am with this woman right now.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
There's a Bible verse that talks. What is it right here? Right there. Isaiah 1:14. Your new moons and your appointed feasts, my soul hates. They are trouble unto me, and I'm weary of bearing them. And that's what God was saying to Israel at the time, because they're putting. It's a similar situation. It's when you look at what was happening, that they would not cease fire on the Sabbath, but kept bombing these people, men, women, children, made in the image and likeness of God, just bombing the hell out of them, sitting on the side of that mountain with chairs and popcorn is so insane to me. But this is what these people were doing to them. And they wouldn't even stop for their blessed Sabbath. But when it's time to sit down to talk about peace negotiations, they cannot make it to the meeting because of their Sabbath day. That's the type of Sabbath that Jehovah hates. Because that type of Sabbath is putting your Sabbath day over these people when you would not stop that to protect lives, but you will say you're going to your Sabbath when there's going to be a ceasefire.
And as
That's horrible.
Our favorite rabbi said,
man was made for the Sabbath, not the Sabbath. What is that thing? Go ahead.
The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's absolutely insane that you want to drag religion into this, Mr. Netanyahu. We continue.
Ring true to you.
I think that may be part of it, Joy, but I also think that Bibi Netanyahu could have struck this deal 8 months ago when it was first offered by the Americans. But I think he wanted to further destroy Hamas and, in the process, further destroy Gaza. And if you look...
He did not want to further destroy Hamas. He wanted to destroy the soul of those people. He wanted to ruin the soul of those people. He wanted to demoralize them. That's what he was trying to do. Because those guys want entire control of the region. That's a fact. That's what was happening.
What happened to...
I mean, they've said it. They've said it. Mm-hmm. Not speculation.
Mm-hmm. Last 8 months, that thousands of people have been killed in just the destruction, turning Gaza really into just a pile of rubble. This is something that I think Netanyahu wanted to do. So, yes, he does have his right-wing cabinet members that he has to, take into account. But I do think he holds sway within that cabinet, and he could have forged this deal earlier. But again, I think he had an agenda, not just in Gaza, but I think at that time also he was anticipating that Lebanon and Hezbollah was going to also be in his target list. And so therefore, that's why he waited. But he gets a benefit now. With Trump coming in, he can offer a gift to the incoming administration, but also...
And why go after Hezbollah? It was Hamas that attacked you. So what are you doing going into Lebanon and attacking Hezbollah when Hamas attacked you? Interesting. It's almost like you guys want to just continuously destabilize the region, create conflicts so that we get dragged into it to give you guys money and arms and all the rest. It almost looks like that's what's happening.
As a way to
a bit of manipulation.
The tremendous efforts that the Biden administration made over the past, year plus.
Yeah, I think Biden was right to come out and say this is his deal. It's a deal that he already had.
I bet you do think so, lady.
That's why Msnbc cut her off. They're like, all right, look, I'm serious. Look, there's all this time left in the countdown. Look, look at this part right here.
It's a benefit now. With Trump coming in, he can offer a gift to the incoming administration, but also as a way to, I think, recognize the tremendous efforts that the Biden administration made over the past year plus.
Yeah, I think Biden was right to come out and say this is his deal. It's a deal that he already had put on the table.
See? They're like, all right, that's it, cut it off. Look, it's still there. 17 seconds, 16 seconds with this there.
Yeah.
They're like,
stop.
That's why, she had to take a pay cut.
She did?
Oh, yeah, their channel is bleeding out like crazy.
Wow.
Like crazy.
People are like coming into this idea of you can't keep lying to us.
Yeah, they're tired of it.
Yeah.
People are tired of it.
It's the pendulum swinging. That's what's happening here.
All these TV journalists are in their death throes. It's true. Their viewership is all but gone because they just sit and gaslight. Reid just had to take a large pay cut. Oh, see, me and him were like, we were completely calibrated. Hey, Danny Mac, you better subscribe, Danny Mac. Yeah, guys. I mean, it's just so frustrating to me that folks don't know when to stop playing politics, man.
Yeah.
Look, everybody is loved by God. God loved the world, but I am an American. We had people there. We had people there caught up in a conflict that had nothing to fucking do with us. And our president says nothing. Our president had all of this invective for Trump and his supporters. He called Trump supporters garbage. He said all this shit. Not one word about Hamas, who had kept American citizens away from their family. I'm not mad at Hamas. We created the situation. I'm saying you're an American president, and there are American civilians being held captive by people you call terrorists. And the only time that we hear you ever come out and say any crazy shit is when you're talking about the people you're supposed to be leading and calling them garbage and all the rest of it. You couldn't call the people who kidnapped our folks garbage. You couldn't call the Israelis who are out there massacring little children, massacring aid workers, massacring the media over there. You couldn't say anything about them and authoritarianism or whatever the fuck. But you got all this shit to say about American citizens when American citizens are in trouble. It's insane. The more we send them money and weapons, the more likely it is that Americans will die in captivity. Don't you understand that? Do you not understand how the Islamic mind works? Do you not understand during the Battle of Badr, where Muhammad made another $2 million based on hostage taking and then negotiating and sending? This is at the core of these people's religion. It just kills me, man. Like, there's no line with these people.
Yeah.
And we do not have any form of patriotism anymore. And that's why you have people saying, I'm a Christian nationalist. They're not really crazy nationalists, but they're trying to make a distinction between you and them because you have no loyalty to your country or your countrymen. So, of course, people are going to go swing the other side then. For obvious reasons. We live in America. And you live in America, Joy. And America made it so, show me another country where you would be a TV star other than America. Damn, and then some of our people get jammed up and you can't smile. You know she didn't smile one time in that?
She looked miserable.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine your loved one has been gone for a year and 3 months and your president says nothing? Your president's got Dylan Mulvaney up there and all this weirdo shit. But we got American citizens in captivity.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my thing, man. Like, that's the thing that gets me, bro. It's like, come on, man. Like, I say this to Dorian all the time. I said, I wish you could have been here after 9/11.
You would have loved it.
Because I fear it's the last time that Americans look at each other and don't give a fuck about this Democrat-Republican bullshit. You're on the team, you're on the team. Let's go. God bless America. I wish he could have been there. Because it didn't always used to be like this. There used to be a time when it was like, what? American hostages? Okay, let's go. But now, I'm seeing genuine disappointment that this happened. And it's
so
it's
crazy.
Absolutely sickening to me.
Oh, it's
absolutely
crazy,
sickening to me.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah. Anyway, look, I think that Donald Trump has many flaws. I think that, like all of us, he has flaws. But I got to tell you, man, there is something different about that dude. He is different. I'm sorry. And look, I'll say this and I'll go. Just like I kept telling people, I said, if that man goes through this nomination process without getting assassinated, he's not real.
Yep, you said it.
And
yep,
he did. They tried to kill him. And that tells me there's something different about this man. So,
That's
Joy
right.
Reid, who has absolutely no self-awareness, whatever, this is the reason that you're tanking, especially your company, because it's your company that spun the Russiagate thing with Rachel Maddow for 4+ years and had no accountability whatsoever for it. And now here we go. When he gets there's an assassination attempt. They try to kill this man in front of us, in front of our children.
Yeah, exactly.
Which would have no doubt caused a civil war. And she comes on TV and YouTube and TikTok, wherever the fuck, and acts like, well, you know, I mean, and this is kind of weird that this happened, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is another person where, you know, she's probably going to do her last show in about a year. And I will be there for that live show because this is unforgivable to me. This is unforgivable. We should be over the moon happy about this. Yeah. Our countrymen are coming home. Our countrywomen are coming home.
Yeah.
And our president hasn't even sworn in yet, but he had his priorities in order. That's a fact.
That's right.
And you and the rest of you weirdos can say whatever you want. All you're doing is setting up a Vance Trump ticket in 2028. How much you want to bet it's J.D. Vance and Trump Jr. In 2028? They're going to be young. They're going to be energetic. They're going to be able to say we ended 2 wars. We fixed the economy. Mr. Trump probably is in line for a Nobel Peace Prize. If he doesn't get one after he shuts down Russia, Ukraine, then the prize means nothing.
That's right.
I don't think that the country is in its best shape with a complete Republican takeover of the country. I do believe that there needs to be alternate voices because healthcare is still a major issue. But if you keep saying shit like this, you're going to swing the country so right that Medicare for all and the rest of this. I hope you guys understand the mission is not done at all. We still got Americans dying over. We still got Americans dying of diabetes. I just had a friend die because of that. She was a YouTuber. She's a great YouTuber, mega talented. And I think that's probably like the subtext of some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we can't get our shit together and take care of our own people.
Yeah.
And like, regular people are not the priority. Yeah. This woman would rather dead Palestinian children. This woman would rather traumatized kids who haven't seen their mother in a year and 3 months. She'd rather them be there in that situation than let Trump be the guy to solve the problem. Crazy. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And again, I don't care. People can call me a nationalist. People call me whatever you want. Call me whatever. I'm an American. I wasn't even born in this country. I have no idea why Americans are not loyal to Americans. These are Americans. And of all the people in America who deserve to be separated from their... I should be the one separated from my family, not some lady from Nebraska. I've actually done some shit, so I would deserve it. These are regular American people that got nothing to do with nothing. Anyway, much love to all you beautiful people. Love your neighbor.
Take care of each other.
Middle America.
We are the media.
Till next time, guys. Shout out to Dr. Trump. I'm going to call him Dr. Trump now. And I think this is going to be the last show that we should... Well, it might not be. It might not be. But yeah, farewell to Mr. Biden. Farewell to Mr. Biden. And you know what?
I think he was going to say that the last show before Biden is out and Trump is in. But you didn't finish that. A little bit ominous. Kind of sounded like this might be the last show.
Oh no.
So I just don't want anybody.
No, it's not. It's.
I want everybody to be.
You see, here's Danny. Amen. Healthcare should be there for all Americans. I'm neither left. This is exactly where the country is. This is where the country is. We don't want war. We don't want 6'2", fucking 220-pound men in a wrestling league with women. We don't want that. But we do want healthcare for everybody. We want fair housing practices for everybody. We do want to address the homelessness crisis. We do want to address the border. Those are not left-right issues. And whatever candidate figures that out and executes and delivers for us, those are the people that are going to have the country. You can no longer do this left-right bullshit anymore because MSNBC is dying. CNN, the only reason CNN has their head above water is because they've got this one show where they have a Republican in there. And they just go back and so it's an actual debate and there's actual people that can actually give another point of view. That show is taking off and doing well. But all this regular
gaslighting and
all the gaslighting and all the don't believe what's in front of your eyes, like the Democrats don't understand what they've done. Like, you guys are the party of don't believe what your eyes are telling you. No, there is no immigration crisis. No, Leah Thomas is a woman. No, walking around with an erect penis in the fucking locker room. I know you think that's a man, but it's really, really a woman. You guys are dumb. And if you're a girl on that team and you don't think that that's cool that there's a man with an erection in your fucking locker room, we're going to send you to the team psychologist. That's a true story. You guys were telling us, oh, I understand that it appears that inflation is a problem. But I'm telling you,
it's just an annoyance or something like that.
I make $900,000 a month. I'm telling you, there really isn't a crisis relative to you're doing great. I mean, look at my stock portfolio. You are the party of telling us not to believe what we see with our own eyes. That's the problem. These people, this is the reason why they can't stop saying deplorables and trash.
Yeah.
They genuinely resent the masses. They resent them. And that's why they say things like, we got to find a new Joe Rogan.
Well, it's interesting.
You resent the people that listen to Joe Rogan. And the problem is, we're in your face so much that it slips out. The resentment to regular people slips out of these people's tongues. Go ahead. I
think they resent the fact that the majority has the power.
The people actually have the power. Correct.
Right? Because they talk about democracy, but then they're angry with the process.
That's right.
They got Trump in there, and it wasn't what they wanted.
That's right.
Then they'll say things like they hate the Americans that choose it, or we're too stupid to make the right choices for ourselves.
Correct.
And whatever happens to us is because we voted it in and we were too stupid to see through what was going to happen.
Yep.
And that the only way for us to be taught is basically
That's
we
right.
have to struggle
It's gotta
and
crash
we have
and
to
burn.
suffer.
Yep.
And they're going to, from their ivory tower, watch us crash and suffer, and then they're going to pick up the pieces in the end.
Yep.
And it's going to go back to what they originally thought. And by that point, we will then see and worship their way of thinking.
100%.
It's crazy. And you hear it in their tone.
I'm going to make a short out of that.
You hear it in everything that they're saying when they're talking about it's just wild. It's absolutely wild.
They can't hide their disdain for the American people. And
it comes out all over the place.
They have real disdain for American people.
Just
it's
regular
crazy.
Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really insane. It's really insane. But, it's very popular in Christian circles to be really pessimistic about the country because of a lot of our eschatologies, but it seems God's given us a shot here.
Yeah.
We have a shot to do something really productive.
Yeah, I agree.
As a nation and actually bless the world.
Yeah,
like, I know that America blesses the world, but there's always some string attached to it.
Yeah. And it would be cool if it was like percentage-wise. Like, I know that we can't be perfectly perfect, so there is going to be some destructive nature to who we are.
Sure.
At the same time, it would be good if the majority of our surplus, of our money, went to actually bettering the world rather than destroying it. We can't have the majority of our money and our energy and our efforts and our thoughts going to what destroys human beings. It has to be flipped. It really, wow.
And we got to start valuing human
That's the
life.
thing. Love your neighbor like you love yourself. Care for... I can't believe, the absolute wild separation between American mothers and Palestinian mothers and what we're expecting Palestinian mothers to deal with. I was sick with the flu in bed, and I kept thinking about these Palestinian women, thirsty, pregnant, delivering and not having water. It's insane. And then just like I said, it was Christmas. We just passed Christmas. So every other post on some of the local areas was, hey, it's last minute. I don't have any gifts for my kids. And people's real stress and duress under the fact that they couldn't give gifts to their children on Christmas. And gifts are great. And I think celebration is great. But we're expecting Palestinian women to be okay with their children being underneath rubble because we can't get it figured out in our politics over here. But that's human beings. Like, we can wait.
And then they go on TikTok where they know everybody's going to be looking and publish stuff mocking these Palestinian
That's
kids.
so sad.
It's because,
Oh
you know
my
why?
gosh.
It's because they wanted to create another generation of Hamas to create an excuse to do this over and over again in perpetuity.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing that.
We don't want it anymore.
Yeah, but that's easy for you to say. But what if you were a Palestinian kid? If I was a Palestinian kid, I would be in Hamas right now. Mm-hmm. No question.
Yo, I know. Yeah.
No question. So they've just guaranteed that. You see your mother raped, you see your mother murdered.
Yeah, what are you going to
And then the
people
people
are gonna react.
going through the draws on TikTok and
that's
showing
just
around your mom's underwear every
mocking
day
it, yeah.
in a shame honor culture like
Yeah,
Islam.
yeah.
He just guaranteed a doubling and a tripling of Hamas membership, but they love that because then it's going to give them an excuse to kill more Palestinians.
But it's like you said, now we go in there and we rebuild. That's what we should do instead. You know, and apologize for letting those people suffer like that. Let them eat ketchup and pickles for supper while we gorged ourselves over here in America and
throw away food
and drive through Starbucks and spend outlandish amounts so we can get extra pumps of cream. And
Look,
it's just wild.
we are blessed in this country.
Yeah, and we should enjoy that, but
and
we
the
can't
Bible-
leave everybody else out there to...
Exactly. The Bible tells you to celebrate the blessing that God gives you, and then it tells you, bless the nations with how you've been blessed.
Mm-hmm.
And this COVID thing was horrible, but our economy is the best in the world. We're blessed, man.
Mm-hmm.
We're blessed, but there's a responsibility among the blessed, not to feel guilty for the blessing, but to extend the blessing to others.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the right-wing thing is like, I'm not blessed, I worked hard for this, I earned it. The left-wing thing is, oh, you didn't earn anything, you just got lucky, or genetic lottery. It's like, no. Both are untrue. Of course I worked. We have a 250,000 subscribers on our other channel. I did not do that much work to get that. There was some blessing in there where God gave us a blessing.
Yeah.
And so, you know, thankfully, we've been able to use that to bless other people. But my point is, guys, I don't feel guilty about the fact that we have Christmas at Starbucks and all the rest of it. But but don't we feel terrible that we could be doing something for other people and we're not doing it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And all it takes is a couple phone calls and a tweet to save 40, 50,000 lives? Think!
Yeah.
Just pull back and put yourself in a Palestinian shoes or an American hostage's shoes. All right, guys. Love all of you. Like, share, comment, subscribe. We're about to go and drop some bodies on Fortnite.
After we take a walk.
On Fortnite, not in real life.
All right, you guys. Take care
And
of
I'm
each
going to
other.
have Art say the last word. Spread peace and to respect one another. Very simple. Art's telling us we got a choice. We could spread war, we could spread nothing, or we could spread peace. I want us to spread peace so that God can bless our nation. Jesus said, blessed are the what? Peacemakers.
I don't think you can spread nothing because I think if you're not pushing back against the war,
That's right.
then you're funding it in a sense.
That's right.
Like you have to push against it. We have to push against
We
it.
got to put into the collective conscience
that this is wrong. Like we can't do
that
this.
we are responsible.
Yeah.
You don't get to brag about a democracy. And then when your country does something evil, you can say, oh,
Throw my hands up.
are you with us or not? Because if you're with us, then you get the glory at the Olympics, and you also get the bill in Gaza. Both are true if you're an American.
Yep. Exactly.
All right. I'm
you
never,
guys.
ever going to feel guilty for being an American. I bless the Lord Jesus. I bless the Most High for making me an American. And I'm going to die an American. I'm never going to feel guilty about being American for 1 second. I'm never going to feel guilty for any of the blessings that God has given me as American for 1 second. But I will have to investigate my own apathy to the suffering of other people.
Me too.
I do have to answer for that. I don't have to answer for the blessings that God has given me. God gave us blessings so that we could be happy. That's literally what the term means.
Yep.
When the scripture says that God blesses so-and-so, literally the translation would be God happied this person. So God is happying you so that you can happy your brothers and sisters in the world. And that is where we fall short. That is where we fall short. Not in enjoying American excess and comfort and all the rest of it. We fall short when we don't extend that blessing to somebody else.
And remember, like, children in the scripture, they're talked about as a blessing. Like, they're children, they're a gift from God, they're a blessing from God. And so the idea that we would allow other people's blessings, other people's gifts from God to just get massacred underneath our apathy is crazy. So it's, I don't know, it's convicting, it's moving, and like, we have to be a people of prayer too. You know what I mean? Like, if you believe in the supernatural and you believe that God hears us when we pray, then why not? Why not pray that things would get altered and things would change? Because I'll tell you what, if it was your family, if it was my family, then, and your hands were completely tied, there was nothing that you could do, a lot of people in the foxhole start calling out to God. So, you know, if we were in that situation, it'd be a lot easier to say, you know what, maybe God is a possibility. When you are stripped of all hope, sometimes that's when you see the light the clearest. So I'm just praying that God does that for these people, because my word, like, at the end of it, there's just been a lot of destruction. A lot of destruction. It's sad.
All right.
But cheers to 2025. And, you know, I hope it brings peace. I hope we really can, like, bring in some peace to our world.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. We can get that figured out.